Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 368 based on novel. So let's start. There was a thunderous bang and the lake became violent. A layer of water suddenly collapsed and countless drops of water appeared. Then another layer of water suddenly collapsed, and this cycle continued. In an instant, layers of water from the lake dissipated into water vapor and rose into the air. The water level of the lake immediately dropped by 10 feet. This scene was very ordinary and didn't seem special at all. If it was a spell, even turning the entire lake to gas would be very simple. Forget this old man, even Wang Lin had dozens of methods to deliver a blow that looked much stronger than this. Very ordinary, isn't it? The old man looked at Wang Lin with a profound smile. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared at the surface of the lake and recalled what he had just seen. He began to ponder as he stared at the lake. Seeing Wang Lin like this, the old man became even more happy and didn't disturb Wang Lin. He wanted to see how good Wang Lin's comprehension was and whether Wang Lin could understand the meaning behind this technique. Back when I learned this from the ancestor, I couldn't learn the meaning behind it by myself. Not even the amazing 4th-generation Vermilion Bird Jr. was able to understand the core, he could only grasp the edge. It wasn't until the ancestor explained it that we suddenly realized the true meaning. Let's see how the 6th generation does. However, this child's talent can't compare to that of the 4th generation. His current cultivation level should be all from lucky encounters, or perhaps it was due to that disciple the 4th-generation Vermilion Bird once talked about. Otherwise, there would be no way for him to reach the terrifying cultivation level of reaching the edge of ethereal fire in just over 2,000 years of cultivation. Even the ancestor couldn't have done this at this age. Just then, the old man suddenly thought about Wang Lin's 5 essences and paused for a moment. Maybe this guy will see through it. The old man was a bit gloomy as he looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin frowned, and the scene from before kept replaying in his mind. The old man's palm looked very normal and had only shook the lake. The water droplets had flown up and collided with each other countless times before turning into water vapor. However, going by the old man's words, this spell contained a profound truth. While pondering, Wang Lin walked next to the lake and crouched down. He gently pressed his hand against the surface of the lake. He didn't use a spell, he simply touched the water like a mortal. The moment his hand descended toward the surface of the lake, Wang Lin felt a rebound force. This rebound force was extremely weak and almost imperceptible, like this was how it should be. Although the surface of the water was very soft, it could still allow leaves to float. When his palm pressed against it, he would naturally feel a rebound force. This matter would not have caught Wang Lin's attention in the past, and he previously wouldn't have considered why it was like this. However, right now, when this rebound force appeared, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. Ripples echoed across the lake and more ripples spread out from his palm. The lake was like his heart, and a ripple had been set off in his heart. He was different from other people. Wang Lin was an ancient god. They didn't have many spells, but their bodies were extremely powerful. One punch was enough to annihilate a cultivation planet. This was the core of the ancient god's strength. It was because of this that Wang Lin's grasp of force greatly differed from that of cultivators that relied on spells or treasures. When I was reading books as a child, I heard of dripping water drilling into rock. Water may seem soft, but in truth, water is extremely tough. When it falls on the rock, it has to withstand the rebound force. The countless droplets create a rebound force that eventually allows the water to penetrate the rock. Forget rocks. If an ancient god took the place of the rock, even they would be penetrated by water droplets after a long time. Enlightenment appeared in Wang Lin's eyes and he looked at the old man. The old man's expression became serious, also containing a trace of shock. He didn't expect Wang Lin to grasp the edge of this spell by himself. This child's talent can't compare to the 4th-generation Vermilion Bird, the difference is like heaven and earth. This enlightenment is too frightening, and he was able to use his comprehension to make up for his lack of talent to reach the same degree of understanding of this secret spell as the 4th-generation Vermilion Bird. No wonder he has 5 essences. It seems like it wasn't an accident, The old man took a deep breath and looked at Wang Lin with admiration. He was about to open his mouth to explain the rest. In his view, this was already Wang Lin's limit, and Wang Lin wouldn't be able to look deeper into this matter. However, before he could speak, Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "This is only secondary." The old man was startled. Water contains tenacity and softness, and after forming the lake, it also contains a rebound force. The more power contained in my palm, the more powerful the rebound force. The rebound force that appears the moment I throw the punch is no weaker than the punch itself. As a result, it is as if two types of forces suddenly cross and then create a powerful collision. When Senior's palm fell on the water droplets collided countless times, causing part of the lake to disintegrate. That disintegration was a change of state to change the water directly into water vapor. Although it looked simple, it contained a heaven-shaking force. The power to change the state of living things. As Wang Lin spoke, his eyes became brighter and his mind became more clear. Ideas poured into his mind and he replayed what the old man had done tens of thousands of times. This should be it. Senior's palm contained that law. One punch could even cause a cultivation planet to collapse. Although there would still be a rebound force, by the time the rebound force appeared, the cultivation planet would already be destroyed. However, water is different. The toughness of water can't be underestimated. After enough water has gathered, the power it can withstand is shocking. If the same punch landed in the sea, the rebound force would be enough to cause a person to collapse. The old vermilion bird stared at Wang Lin with wide eyes. The fright he had when he saw that Wang Lin had 5 essences reappeared. This comprehension of the heavens is something this old man has never seen before. This comprehension is more powerful than any kind of talent. It wasn't a fluke for this child to obtain essences. The old vermilion bird took a deep breath, and his gaze toward Wang Lin became even stranger. At this moment, he didn't know that once Wang Lin learned the ancient soul restriction, he would have a chance to reach the peak of restrictions and achieve the void realm and obtain the void essence. Of course, this chance was low, but it existed. What Senior is trying to teach Junior is how to use this rebound force. Thus, when I throw a punch, I can borrow the rebound force to kill my enemy, as my power would increase greatly. It can even change the state of objects. Although it's not a spell, this method can be considered a spell. Senior wants Junior to learn this. Wang Lin's eyes were bright and there was a flash of joy in his eyes. A normal battle between cultivators wouldn't involve punches and kicks. However, Wang Lin was an ancient god, so this was similar to a spell to him. In Wang Lin's ancient god memories, there was no such method of using force. This lesson from the second-generation vermilion bird meant a lot to Wang Lin. When he thought of his battle with Tuor Sen, it was clear that Tuor Sen was much stronger. In their battle back then, it was like a child fighting an adult. It wasn't too much to say that he only knew how to use the raw strength of the ancient gods. The old vermilion bird swallowed and sighed in his heart. He had lived for a long time and was an old monster, so it wasn't hard for him to put up an act. He slowly said, "Good, everything you said were simple truths, exactly what I wanted to tell you." Although the old vermilion bird had said this, he thought in his heart, "Damn it, I can't let this kid see through me. If he finds out that this old man couldn't even comprehend this back then, all my face as an elder will be lost. If I had known this, I would have passed him the white tiger or azure dragon secret spells. Those things are not meant to be cultivated by humans. With this little monster's comprehension, he should go study those things." The old vermilion bird quickly let out a dry cough to avoid the topic. His eyes widened and he said, "Good. Now that you've learned the secret spell, follow me to the trial. Once you complete the trial, go use Master Simo to show off your might." After he spoke, he waved his sleeve and they both turned into ethereal fire before flying to the northwest. Wang Lin carefully looked at the ethereal fire and was secretly shocked. Is this ethereal fire? There is no heat at all, but it gives the illusion that my soul is burning. With the old vermilion bird's cultivation level, he immediately brought Wang Lin above the arena in the northwest region. Right now there were 2 cultivators fighting for the position of elder. There were 10,000 cultivators around the arena observing them, and there were several spots where no cultivators dared to approach. One of those locations was where Master Simo and Grandmaster Yun Luo were located. Another location, a father and daughter pair covered in blue light. In another place, there was only one person. He wore green and looked like a young man. He laid lazily on a cloud, looking at the two people fighting below. He yawned as he took out a peach and took a bite. There was a giant lizard coiled up in the last location. The beast was black and looked ferocious as it floated in the air. On its back sat an old man wearing animal skins. This old man's face was filled with holes and bumps, and there were fist-sized earrings on each of his ears. His lips had 4 red needles pierced through them, as if sealing his mouth. Just at this moment, the expressions of these people changed and they all looked up. A few old fellows came. Just as everyone looked up, the old vermilion bird's voice echoed across the sky in a taunting manner. As he descended, the ethereal fire around him scattered and dissipated without a trace. This revealed Wang Lin's figure behind the old vermilion bird. Just as Wang Lin appeared, a few gazes fell on him. The first gaze was from Master Simo. His gaze was cold and filled with killing intent. The second gaze was gentle. It contained a hint of confusion and reminiscence. It came from the daughter covered in blue light. The third gaze came from the handsome young man eating the peach. His eyes shined and he revealed a smile that wasn't a smile. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as his gaze swept past the father and daughter covered in blue light. There was a hint of complication in his eyes, but that soon dissipated. Wang Lin clasped his hands and respectfully said, "Junior greets Senior Dao Master Blue Dream." Dao Master Blue Dream smiled as he nodded and said, "I really did underestimate you before." The old vermilion bird was shocked by the fact that Wang Lin knew Dao Master Blue Dream. Then his gaze swept by Li Qianmai and he smiled mischievously before ignoring this matter. Then his gaze locked onto Master Simo. "Little kid, what are you looking at? Are you dissatisfied with this old man? Do you want to challenge this old man? Come and fight, this old man will play with you." The old vermilion bird didn't have the grace of a senior as he stared at Master Simo and made a taunting gesture with his index finger. Master Simo's expression changed. He knew that the old man was the first young emperor of the fallen land. This was someone just below the great emperor, and he was very famous. The Sovereign Council was still doing research on this person, and this old fellow was not easy to deal with. The killing intent in Master Simo's eyes had disappeared. He clasped his hands and softly said, "Senior's cultivation is heaven-piercing. Junior is no match. Mph, you won't dare to fight this old man, but you want to provoke my junior. You deserve a beating." No matter how the old vermilion bird looked at Master Simo, he found him to be an eyesore. He let out a cold snort and waved his right hand. No spell seemed to appear with that wave, but Grandmaster Yun Luo's expression changed greatly and she retreated without hesitation. Master Simo's pupils also shrank and he let out a roar as he began to form hand seal. However, before he could complete it, a thunderous rumble echoed. Master Simo quickly retreated from this rumble. His hand was trembling and his face was pale. An ethereal fire was burning inside him, and it flashed 3 times. Every time it flashed, the burning power inside his body increased. After 3 flashes, Master Simo's body trembled violently and he coughed out blood. His eyes were filled with terror. Senior is bullying a junior before everyone here. What is the meaning of this? Anger appeared on Master Simo's face, but the anger seemed to feed the ethereal fire around him, causing it to become even more powerful. Master Simo coughed out blood once more. At this moment, Grandmaster Yun Luo stepped up and pressed her hand against his back. She used some secret spell to make Master Simo's face look slightly better, but he was still deathly pale. The strong bullying the weak. Damn, you actually know what that means. After using your 3rd step cultivation to force a fight with my junior, you dare to say I'm bullying the weak. So what if I'm bullying the weak? The old vermilion bird had cultivated for many years, and although he looked kind to Wang Lin, in truth, when he became famous, he had an explosive temper. After hearing Master Simo's words, his eyes widened and he took a step forward. He was too fast, it was impossible for the eye or divine sense to keep up. He arrived before Master Simo and directly sent out a slap. With one slap, Master Simo let out a muffled groan and was pushed back several dozen feet. His face swelled up and became purplish black. Grandmaster Yun Luo's face turned pale as she retreated and said, "Senior, stop, the Sovereign Council." Before Grandmaster Yun Luo could finish speaking, the old vermilion bird looked at her viciously. "Little girl, shut up. If you don't stop, I'll slap you too. This old man is going to bully the weak today." This made Grandmaster Yun Luo bite her lower lip and stop talking. Master Simo had just stopped his body and his vision had become blurry. "Who are you to dare to call my junior a little bastard? You're a bastard, your entire family are bastards." As the old vermilion bird spoke, he closed in once more and sent out a slap with his left hand. Master Simo let out a muffled groan and coughed out blood. He was pushed back and anger filled his body. However, this anger increased the strength of the fire in his body. He let out a miserable scream and suppressed his anger. "If my junior is a bastard, doesn't that make me a bastard as well? Damn it, you dare to scold this old man?" The old man stared at Master Simo and gave chase. Junior didn't. Master Simo's mind trembled and he was about to explain himself, but his words were obviously not as fast as the old vermilion bird. The old vermilion bird suddenly got close and sent out a slap with his right hand. Master Simo's already purplish-black face swelled even more and he coughed out blood along with a few teeth. His body was thrown far away. You dare to scold this old man?" There was a hint of killing intent in the old vermilion bird's eyes. If it wasn't for the fact that he wanted Wang Lin to use Master Simo to show off, he wouldn't have just used 3 slaps, he would have instantly taken his life. The old vermilion bird dared to fish for a dragon and had a terrifying cultivation level. Although Master Simo was a 3rd step cultivator, he had just entered the 3rd step. If it was someone other than the old vermilion bird, they would have showed some hesitation. After all, the Sovereign Council stood behind Master Simo. However, the old vermilion bird didn't consider any of this at all. He only had one thought: no one could provoke the vermilion bird clan. Even if they had a higher cultivation level than him, he wouldn't care. The 1st-generation ancestor would deal with it. The vermilion bird clan's bias was passed down from generation to generation. Wang Lin revealed a smile as he watched this. He found the shadow of Qing Shui and the 5th-generation vermilion bird divine emperor on the old vermilion bird. Wang Lin's personality was sometimes very simple. Those who were good to him would be paid back several-fold. Like Sichu Na, Qing Shui, the old vermilion bird divine emperor, Dun Tian. The cultivators fighting for the fallen elder position all stopped and retreated. The 10,000 fallen land cultivators were all extremely respectful. And the 10 messengers also looked up at the sky respectfully. As for the rest of the people in the sky, they didn't say anything. After slapping Master Simo a few times, the old vermilion bird withdrew his gaze and returned to Wang Lin's side. He completely ignored Master Simo, who was in a sorry state, and the gloomy Grandmaster Yun Luo. This old man is very happy that everyone could come here. Although there are still a few old fellows who are not here, it is fine. Since everyone is present, I want you all to witness the trial of my fallen land's 3rd young emperor. If he succeeds in the trial, he will become a true young emperor. Making him your enemy is the same as making this old man your enemy, making the fallen land your enemy. The old vermilion bird clasped his hands at everyone. He pulled Wang Lin and pointed at the handsome young man. "Little fellow, you know Tao Master Blue Dream, so I won't introduce you. You see that young man eating the peach? Don't think he is young, he is actually an old monster. You might have heard of him before, he is one of the 5 masters, Tao Master Miao Yin." Wang Lin's expression remained calm, but his mind raced. He had heard of Tao Master Miao Yin before. He looked at the young man but found no trace of cultivation, and Wang Lin clasped his hands as a greeting. The handsome young man laughed and nodded at Wang Lin. "There is also this old fellow with the needle in his mouth, he is also someone you should know. Although he is not one of the 5 masters, his cultivation is not a bit weak. He is the self-proclaimed esteemed Tai Huang. His poison cultivation made him famous." The old vermilion bird pointed at the skinny elder sitting on the lizard. The old man's eyes lit up and he let out a cold snort. His lips didn't move, But a voice came from his body. "Old bird, this old man didn't come to witness anything, I'm here to fight you. However, this junior of yours is not bad, so I'll gift you this for protection." The old man raised his right hand and flicked. A piece of his fingernail from his index finger broke off and flew toward Wang Lin. There was a flash of light and the piece of fingernail floated before Wang Lin. The old vermilion bird's eyes widened after hearing the words old bird, but when he saw the nail, he laughed. "You little poison bug, you're pretty generous. Take it. That thing contains that little poison bug's poison. It is a powerful weapon to use against your enemies." As the old vermilion bird spoke, he raised right hand and waved down at the arena. He shouted, "The fallen elder selection will be pushed back, and the young emperor trial will begin." His voice rumbled like thunder and echoed across the arena. The roar of a dragon tortoise echoed and the giant tortoise shell that surrounded the arena appeared. The giant tortoise was extremely large and extremely ferocious. It was an unforgettable scene. A powerful force spread out, and the surrounding 10,000 cultivators revealed extreme reverence as they avoided this shockwave. The giant tortoise let out a roar. After it appeared, it looked up at the old vermilion bird. "Start the blue incense." The old vermilion bird waved his hand. The childishness from before disappeared and he became serious. At this moment, a powerful might came from his body, along with a tyrannical feeling. It was as if whatever he said was law. As the rumble echoed, 3 giant incense sticks thousands of feet thick and tens of thousands of feet tall appeared on the back of the tortoise. These 3 incense sticks were dark blue and pierced into the sky. The giant tortoise seemed to have turned into an altar. The 3 incense sticks on its back were a shocking sight. "The trial of my fallen land's young emperor is extremely simple. You must enter the 3 fantasy worlds of human, earth, and heaven and light up all 3 incense stick. This trial has 2 key points. The first is that lighting the incense sticks is difficult. Second, once an incense stick is lit, although it is tens of thousands of feet tall, it burns very fast. You must use all your effort to slow down the burning so your soul can leave and return to your body." The old vermilion bird's expression was very serious as he looked at Wang Lin. "Every trial has danger. My fallen land's young emperor's trial is also the same. If you can't ignite it, there is no consequence, but if you ignite it and you can't get out, your soul will burn to death with it. With this old man here, you won't really die, but you will disappoint this old man. Since ancient times, only 2 people have succeeded. This old man was the first, and before you there was another. That person is extremely gifted. He took 5 breaths for the first incense, 9 breaths for the second incense, and 14 breaths for the third. Even this old man is inferior to him. Do you dare to try? Answer me." The old man's eyes glowed like a torch as he looked at Wang Lin. Wang Lin's remained calm and slowly said, "Why would I not dare? Good. I expect you to surprise me a 3rd time." The old vermilion bird laughed and waved his right hand. A gust of wind wrapped around Wang Lin and he moved like a bolt of thunder toward the first incense stick. Master Simo's eyes contained a well-hidden, vicious gaze. His face was still purple, and it wouldn't heal in a short period of time with a spell. After all, the old vermilion bird had done this on purpose to humiliate him. Right now, Master Simo didn't dare to be as arrogant as before, but his killing intent toward Wang Lin had become even stronger. Master Simo let out a cold snort. "The Sovereign Council has studied the Fallen Land's trial deeply. This little bastard can't succeed with his cultivation level." Grandmaster Yun Luo beside him also had a gloomy expression. Her hand in her right sleeve casually formed a few seals as if she was trying to divinate some things, but her gaze swept toward Dao Master Miao Yin. As for Dao Master Miao Yin, he lied down on the cloud with his eyes squinted, revealing a strange light. This little fellow must be the Wang Lin that Daoist Water had sent information about. The Lord of the Sealed Realm is not dead. That Daoist Water wouldn't dare to lie, but I should be careful about this. I accept last time because the Sovereign gave me great benefits, but now, if they want me to act, it will depend on whether the Sovereign Council is willing to give the appropriate reward." Dao Master Blue Dream calmly looked at Wang Lin and sighed in his heart. In such short period of time, This child has managed to destroy the Scatter Thunder clan and also formed a deep relationship with the Fallen Land. I've really underestimated him. As one of the 5 masters, I have a responsibility to guard the ancient star system, but the matter between him and you Dao Master Blue Dream looked at his daughter with a complicated gaze. I can ignore the Sovereign Council, and even if the Sovereign comes out of closed-door cultivation, I can refuse, but what if Meng'er comes? What should I do? Thinking about his wife, Dao Master Blue Dream felt a sting in his heart. He could never forget that year when his wife seemed to have died and became a stranger. The old man wearing the beast skin closed his eyes and simply ignored it all. It was as if nothing in the world mattered aside from battling the old vermilion bird. The giant lizard below him snorted 2 streams of hot air and closed its cold eyes. As the 10,000 cultivators around the giant tortoise all watched Wang Lin close in on the first incense stick, various thoughts appeared in their minds. This person is really lucky to have caught the eye of the first young emperor. However, this trial is extremely difficult. I'm certain he won't succeed. The Fallen Land's first elder didn't even dare to try to obtain the title of young emperor even though his at the 5th heaven's blight. Although this person has obtained the favor of the great emperor and the first young emperor, there is no way he can succeed. Wang Lin arrived next to the first incense stick under the gazes of the 10,000 cultivators around the arena and landed on the tortoise shell. Compared to the incense stick, Wang Lin's figure was truly insignificant. This giant incense stick was like a mountain. It released a faint fragrance, and when one smelled it, it would awaken their spirit. Wang Lin took a deep breath and placed his right hand on the giant incense stick. The moment he touched the incense stick, he closed his eyes and his body became motionless. His soul entered the incense stick. The first trial, the human phantom world. The sound of water was rushing across his ears. There were bustling sounds coming from the distance that became more and more clear until they suppressed the sound of water in Wang Lin's ears. The sky was blue, beautiful like a painting, with white clouds embellished on it. However, it looked a bit fake. Wang Lin was standing on a bridge with a river flowing below him. There were several boats floating down the river. On both sides of the bridge were noisy streets with many pedestrians, but it was impossible to see their faces. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze from the sky. He felt like he had entered a dream world. Everything was fake without any sense of it being real. Even this bridge was blurry in his eyes, as if it could disappear at any moment. It was as if everything in this world, aside from himself, was not real. This was a mortal city. This city wasn't big, but there were a lot of people living here. There were many stalls and shops along the street, and the sound of people shouting was constant. However, all of this was a blur and seemed separated from him. Is this the first trial? Wang Lin pondered and then turned around to walk off the bridge when he suddenly looked at the river. There was a big boat slowly floating down the river, and there was a young man holding a cup of wine on it. There were a few female singers dancing on the deck and a few servants standing behind him. Among the laughter came these soft yet arrogant words, "The world is an inn for all living things. Time is a guest of the ages. The difference between life and death is like being awakened from a dream." The young man held up the wine cup and took a gulp. After Wang Lin arrived here, everything beside himself has been blurry. However, at this moment the young man's appearance became clear, and this created a clear contrast with the surrounding. This caused Wang Lin to be startled on the spot, and his mind rumbled as if the world was splitting apart. The appearance of the young man was very familiar. It was almost. This video will end here.